As I looked, there's lots of hospice companies in Michigan, West Michigan, and providing good care. But one thing that I thought really stood out with Great Lakes Caring was their concept of this care collaboration and just all of the things that encompasses for someone, and as a person who might have to make that decision to have a loved one do that, I thought that was a great concept, and I was hoping you could share it with us today.
Sure. Well, the big concept of care collaboration, because we do work with a lot of facilities, the big thing about care collaboration is making sure that we are collaborating, and there's a lot of kind of C words: collaborating, communicating, coordinating care with the staff within a facility, whether it be a nursing home and assisted living, especially nursing home because of their guidelines, the strict guidelines. They're run by Medicare, and they're surveyed every year by the state. So they have certain guidelines. We have to make sure that our care plans, match each other. So either every facility runs it a little bit different, but we have to make sure that we sign off on their care plans. So every 2 weeks, our team meets every 2 weeks under the direction of our medical director, and they have what they call the IDG meetings, which are interdisciplinary group. So the nurse, the chaplain, the social worker, they all meet together to review a patient every 2 weeks to make sure they're still meeting criteria to stay on the hospice program, and then just if there's any changes in their care plans, so that has to be all coordinated with the team and then communicated back to the facilities. But we do that with every patient too, so whether they're in a facility or they're at home.
So everyone's on the same page, and everyone makes sure that this patient is getting the best care during the end of their life.
Yes, definitely.
And also one other thing that I noticed that Great Lakes Caring does is there's this commitment to a care that never sleeps, which I have to believe provides a great deal of comfort to family members. And what is that all about?
Care that never sleeps is we have an after-hours nurses that come on. So we call it Care That Never Sleeps. And I always, I tell a lot of our patients and families when I meet with them to do sign-ons is that, we're run just like a hospital, I say. So we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So it doesn't matter what time they call of the day, we can send a nurse out. Our nurses are not on call, so they're dressed and ready to go. We do have a different team that comes on at 5 p.m. that works till 8 a.m. Our nurses that work during the day are our case managers that manage each case, but then we have a different team that comes on at night. So, and with our electronic medical records, it's real-time technology, so a patient chart can be pulled up any time of the day. No matter if our corporate office is based out of Jackson, but if they call in, a nurse is always going to answer. There's always a nurse available by phone, but there's also a nurse that's available that can go out.
Okay.
So if somebody is declining, there's the caregiver's just not comfortable, they see a change in condition, that's when we'll send somebody out, because we don't, our biggest goal is to keep people out of the hospital. We want them to be comfortable, pain-free, and not go to the hospital, stay home.
So you have someone always ready and able to come.
Yeah.
One thing you mentioned a little bit earlier when you were telling us about hospice is this concept of music therapy. And that's got to be, it's been in the news a lot lately. It seems like whenever I hear any piece on the news programs about elderly care, it's about this whole concept of music therapy, and Great Lakes Caring does that. And so how does that play into when you're providing hospice care?
Well, I think every patient is different. If the nurse always directs the plan of care. But upon the initial assessment, just asking, if what their likes, the dislikes. I mean, a lot of people though can relate to music. So, we have a lot of patients that have Alzheimer's or dementia, and even if they can't talk, sometimes just hearing music, they hum along to the music, and so it's definitely very therapeutic. And the music therapist does have to, make sure that it's a therapy. Our music therapist, she just doesn't go in and play a a concert for residents. It has to be, directed to the patient and be therapeutic. So there is a plan of care for it, and has to document. But it's just a great program that we can offer. I think we're the only hospice that offers it on a full time, not volunteers. It's actually, we have a paid employees that we pay because we feel it's really beneficial to patients.
So even this music therapy probably goes back into that whole care elaboration plan when you're looking at it. That's
Yeah,
just
definitely.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And especially for me, as I'm learning more about hospice, I always would think that, if you were receiving hospice services as soon as your loved one passed, that would be the end. But it appears that that's not the case for Great Lakes Caring, that there's a great deal of services that you provide for the family members after a loved one's gone. And so could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have bereavement coordinators that are MSWs, Master Social Work, and they follow up with the loved ones right after their loved one passes, but also for 13 months after, to get them through those difficult, anniversaries, the birthday, anniversaries, just the holidays, so getting them through that. So, yeah, just making sure that they're following up because, it's everybody grieves in their own way, so making sure that they can just maybe help them kind of walk through that a little bit.
All right. Well, Amy LaPointe from Great Lakes Caring, thanks for coming in, talking to us not only about just what hospice is, about all the great services that Great Lakes Caring provides for those who need hospice care and who are looking for more information. Again, Amy LaPointe, Great Lakes Caring, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Catherine.